Cooperative Extension. Now that we've cooked our sweet potato and we have our quinoa cooking, I'm going to show you how to do microwave enchiladas. So we're going to use just some regular flour tortillas, and then in another batch we're going to use some corn tortillas. They both cook a little bit differently, so I just wanted to show you those two different steps. First off, the easier one is doing the flour tortillas. And you can use any kind of microwave dish. If you're just making this for yourself, you can use a small one like this, or if you're making it for your family, you can use a bigger one. So I'm just going to kind of start off by putting a little bit of salsa. If you have enchilada sauce, that's fine. If you don't, you can just use salsa, and I'm just going to put a little bit there on the bottom. And then I'm going to take my tortilla, I'm going to put a little bit of black beans in there. You can use refried beans, you can use any kind of beans, pinto beans, they don't have to be refried. You can add some chicken to it. If you have some chicken, just make sure you kind of cook the chicken first. You don't want to start off with raw chicken in this dish. And because we cooked our sweet potato, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of sweet potato in this. And this is something that once you get the cheese in there and the salsa, you're going to not really taste the sweet potato a whole lot. So especially if you're using refried beans or something, and you're making this for children or someone who doesn't really like sweet potatoes, that cheese and those beans are going to kind of all meld together, and you're just going to be able to taste a little bit of sweetness in there. I'm going to go ahead and just roll up the tortilla, and then just place it in your dish with the seam side down. And this dish is just big enough for me to kind of go ahead and fit one in there. I'm going to go take my second tortilla and do the same thing. And when I said seam side down last time, that's just what I mean. Like that little seam on the bottom is going to go into your dish, and you're just going to kind of push those down in there together. So this is kind of what you end up with. Now, I don't have any enchilada sauce, and I just want to make this really quick. I have salsa, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to pour some salsa there on top. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and use a lot of cheese, so I like cheese. And you can use other toppings too, like if you want to chop up some onions to put on top, or some peppers, that goes nicely. And now we're going to go ahead and put this in the microwave just until the cheese gets nice and bubbly. And so that will really kind of depend on how big of a dish you're making. So we're going to start off with about 2 minutes at first. So now we're going to check our enchiladas, and it looks like the cheese is starting to melt, but it's not quite as melted as I want it to be. And we're just going to start doing it in maybe like another minute. Every microwave is a little bit different, so I'm not going to give you like strict times that you will need. You'll just have to kind of do it little by little until you get it as cheesy, melted cheesy as you like. Okay, so I actually ended up putting it on for another minute. So this was a total of 4 minutes that I've been cooking this in the microwave, and I think it looks about done. I'm going to go ahead and carefully take that out. Let that sit for a couple minutes. So now we're going to do the corn tortilla part, the corn tortilla enchiladas. And it's a little bit different because you're first going to want to kind of soften up these corn tortillas first before you try to roll them. Some of them may be soft enough to do, but they're kind of brittle a little bit, so they fall apart very easily. You can see in this package I've got several that are falling apart very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 that I think look somewhat okay. You can see that they are falling apart quite a bit. So sometimes if you have this happen to you, what you can do, and maybe what I'll show you what you can do, is you can just layer it and not roll them up, but just do kind of like a tortilla pie. So I'm going to go ahead and put about 4 on this plate. Make Actually, for some reason, a lot of the corn tortillas lately have been falling apart. I'm gonna have like 2 pieces of paper towel. I'm just gonna kind of get them wet a little bit. Just to kind of, again, we're just gonna kind of steam it a little bit. Put it there on top. Actually, if you can put one on the bottom and one on top, that would be better. Okay, and I'm just gonna put it in the microwave for maybe just 10 seconds. We put it in for about 10 to 20 seconds in the microwave. If you just want to eat your tortillas with fillings or something that you've also heated up in the microwave, this is a good way to get them really nice and flexible and warm. So you totally don't need a stovetop for that. Just microwave it between 2 paper towels, a little bit of water, and it should make them nice and warm. But this time we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some enchiladas. So to start off with, we always put some kind of sauce in the bottom of our dish. This time we're just using salsa because that's what I have on hand. If you have enchilada sauce, and you can get little cans of enchilada sauce for like 40 to 50 cents at the store. They're very cheap. And I ran out of the black beans because I had saved those from the other day. And what I have in there is I have some white beans that I was going to use for another recipe. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the white beans because I really like white beans a lot. They have a very mild taste, and you can totally use them for recipes like that, like this. And I don't have any more of the sweet potato, so I'm going to go ahead and use some green onion that I have a little bit of. If you don't have a knife or a surface to cut on, actually I find that cutting onions up with scissors works really, really well. So they don't really have to be kitchen scissors either. Just use any kind of clean scissors that you have. And go ahead and put a little bit of cheese inside. And I'm just going to kind of, and these are a little bit more tricky because there isn't a whole lot of space there. So you're just going to kind of fold it like that and just kind of push it in there. And you're going to layer them the other direction this time. And again, if you don't have beans, you can do this with canned chicken. That's also very good. If you have canned tuna or canned salmon, that also works well. Or if you just want to do vegetables and no beans, that's good too. Spread that around. And I'm going to sprinkle, and I should have grated a little bit more cheese. I didn't, but I'm just going to make this a little bit less cheesy than the other one. There you go. And now we're going to go ahead and put this in the microwave. We're just going to go ahead and do it for 4 minutes since that's how long it took our other one to cook. So we cooked the corn tortilla enchiladas for about 4 minutes, and I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and try these out. So we have our corn tortilla enchiladas with white beans, a little bit of chopped green onions, some salsa and cheese, and we have our flour tortilla enchiladas with some black beans, a little bit of sweet potatoes and cheese and salsa. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of cut these up so you can see what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and just grab one of these little corn tortillas. And if you're just making this for yourself and you have a small dish like this works really well just to be able to eat out of the dish and save yourself some dishes. If you're sharing, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a little section of this. There we go. And you've got your quinoa over here. You can go ahead and just put a little bit on the side. Quinoa doesn't have a very strong flavor on its own, so it goes well with a lot of different things. If you don't want to go ahead and assemble everything like this, you can just make a quinoa bowl where you're just going to throw some beans in there or some cooked chicken. And you can also just top it with some cheese. You can throw some chopped tomatoes in, a little bit of salsa, any other vegetables that you might have. And go ahead and just have a quinoa bowl like that. Or you can go ahead and make your enchiladas. So I hope you enjoy it. and I'll see you all next time.